Hi.
Yay! Hello, how's it going?
Great, great. So happy we are here today.
Yeah, me too. No, every time's a pleasure. It's always a surprise when the 2 weeks are up and we actually have to go live again, but yeah, we're here.
Indeed.
We're super happy to be back with a new episode of SNE. Today it's Alba and me, Josephine, and we have an amazing guest with us. So I think actually we can just dive right in. She is an amazing human being, a technical manager with 14 plus years of experience in software engineering, which is blowing my mind. That's very, very much experience. She used to work as a developer relations manager. Also, we've met actually at many in-person events because we are all GDEs and Women Tech Makers ambassadors. So there was a lot of overlap with the conferences and all the events. And she's also a Microsoft MVP and international speaker. And I'm sure I'm forgetting half of the credentials because she's just very accomplished. So let's bring her on. We're super happy to have Vasilika with us here today. Hello and
Hi.
welcome.
Hi,
So nice to have you. How are you doing?
thank you very much. I think I'm great today.
That's
Nice.
amazing. That's
Nice to hear
always
that.
good to hear. We already introduced you a little bit and all your credentials, but is there maybe something we missed or that you want to kind of add to your introductions? Anything that people should know about you?
Yeah, you told a lot of things about me already. I think, yeah, regarding my career path, it's pretty everything.
Okay, well then we covered that, and we were saying you used to be technical manager and software engineer, and we were just having a brief chat earlier that you're currently a little bit rethinking also what you want to do. Would you like to dive right in with us? I know we have a super long list of things that we want to discuss, so maybe we can start there.
Yeah, so I started a new job search in September. And my last position was developer relations engineer in blockchain startup. So I think I'm not like fully done with blockchain. I can't say that like I'm finished with that, but I'm looking at different industries. Almost my favorite is 3D, AI, and blockchain. So I like something modern, and I really I speak with different companies actually, and one of the company AI, one is big enterprise company. It's not like 3D, but also have developer relations, interesting thing. And after 1 year as a developer relation, I actually started like to understand this position much deeper. And I really felt that if you don't have this some kind of good strategy, then you can be somehow lost in all these tasks because you try to shoot in different directions, and at the same time they're not all of them very easy to measure. Like the result of this is not easy to measure in developer relations compared to like typical engineering, some things like performance or whatever. And yeah, so I started to think that developer relations also could be maybe sometimes too much, but it depends on position, it depends on company and team. And especially, I think that it's also very important if your team supports you, like team and also C-level, because if some people in company don't understand why they need developer relations, then it will affect. Especially, for example, like marketing team or budget teams, they should be somehow connected to you, to developer relations. Otherwise, it's quite hard. So I was quite happy to see that at your company, somehow you good balance, like you go together with other people in the company. So I think it's really very good. And in my case, I started to think, what else can I do? Because I have this experience, like 14 years of coding, mostly front end, but also full stack. And I started to think that now, after my experience with like doing courses in Luxembourg, but like on my own web school, and taking a lot of extra projects, because when I'm bored, I want to do something extra. And I started to collaborate a lot with clients, so directly with clients, and at the same time with my friends developers who are like helping me to build some stuff. And I realized that actually I'm very much enjoyed all these communications, and I like to deliver things, but not only like one single developer, but like a team. And so now I'm thinking that maybe my next step will be still developer relations if I find some good company for this. And also it could be some kind of project management, because in my personal life, I'm very much like organized person, and I like to manage a lot of things and to keep in mind a lot of things, and like put everything in to do in calendar, somehow I can delegate to my husband something I like that, or I can simplify some very hard complex tasks when you look at them and it looks for you very scary, even like again in personal life. But I like how I can go step by step to deliver something in my own life, like in my own tasks, in my own dreams.
That's, oh my God, you touched upon so many
Yeah.
important topics. I don't even know where to begin. But first of all, I think that sounds like the perfect skill set, because on one hand you have this massive technical understanding, and at the same time you like to, which is something that many people like either, or I'm generalizing of course, but many people either really love to solve like deep technical issues, or they're more on the communicative side, and it's really rare to have both, like that you actually enjoy doing both kind of. And so I think that's like a really unique and really cool skill set, and it sounds like something that any company would be happy to hire, and that would fit perfectly into DevRel, right? Because of course DevRel is different at many different companies, but still like the communication aspect is such a massive task, and so I think that's a perfect match. And sorry, Alba, you wanted to say something, right? Because I have so many like
Yeah, actually, one thing that she mentioned that was really interesting to me also is like how important it was for us as a dev roles that the management understand that what we were doing was valuable for the company. Because of course in the beginning we were too many developer relations for a company that even the product team was more or less the same number of people. So the same number of people to create the product and the same number of people to advocate for it. It was difficult to manage, of course, because we were doing so many stuff at the same time without having how to measure. But at the same time, in a company, we can change over time, and we change the team in a way that is more scalable and that we have more focus on something, and we can deliver more metrics and understand better what we are doing. So it was a process even for one company to go from a let's do everything in the community, and then let's do everything that is actually valuable for the product too. And I think that's next level of how you can start thinking about the developer relations, and not just one person that does everything. That is usually what happens in a lot of companies. And yeah, it's really interesting that you already grew in that kind of sense in the company you were at before, because you even managed to create a strategy and something without having a process or someone that was leading that strategy. You did it yourself since the beginning, and that's how I can imagine you being a manager, because you were already doing that even in the background without having that role.
Yeah.
And I think that's also how you end up in a new role, doing it before it's actually there. And yeah, you're really good for that. I'm pretty sure you will do a nice job as a manager.
Thank you. But some HR don't think, unfortunately, so. So like it was very hard to go into developer relations, because I heard several times refusal, because but you don't have official developer relations experience. Come on. But like, I'm team lead and I'm doing a lot of talks about like what we are doing, and people come to company because of me, but you don't have official experience. And now also with project management, one HR came to me, it was just like a couple days. He already put a meeting with me about project management in Luxembourg position. But then he asked me, do you have this certification, like PMP, it's called something like this popular one. And I said, I have product owner in Scrum. It's like actually product owner a bit bigger than project management, because product owner also like on the way to product manager somehow. So it's much more responsible, I would say, person. But they said no, but they want this certification. And now I'm in the situation that actually I need to get some kind of certification to have my project management position if I would love. So that's fun. Yes, they don't look at your real somehow experience. They look only at some, how to say this, highlight words that they should be in your resume.
I think that's so frustrating, and I'm assuming that's very similar for many different industries and also positions, not only in tech, but especially with the new AI tooling. The CVs are screened for specific buzzwords, and then if you don't have a specific label in air quotes, then you kind of fall through. And it's like, have you even looked at what this person is capable of? Have you talked to them? Like, no. And so if it's not a cookie cutter solution, and it's very, very frustrating, especially with the overall job market right now that is much more saturated and very different from what it was like. I mean, you can say more to that given how much experience you have, but it feels like it changed a lot in just the last 5 years, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
And
also regarding this framework. So for example, when you work on Vue and you want to switch to another nice company, but they use React, they sometimes can say no, because market now quite, how to say, overloaded of front-end engineers and other people who were fired. So yeah, if they want to have Vue developer, they would like to find Vue developer, not a React developer, and they don't care that it's the same programming language, JavaScript. So because they need a task to find the most relevant person, and they have a lot of choice. So that's pretty similar with all.
That's very annoying, and it feels like it wasn't like that before. The threshold was lower for people also, maybe if you have some experience with a specific framework, but maybe you don't enjoy it very much, or you just want to develop yourself further personally and you want to try something new, and maybe you even tried it in a side project, but you want to go on like an enterprise level. And then right now you're competing with folks who have maybe 10 years of experience in that framework, and then there's no chance of you to get in, right? And so that's very, very discouraging, especially for new people or people who want to switch path a little bit.
So true. I remembered 4 years ago when there was a position in Sandbox, and I was working with Vue for a long time. And even in that moment, they reached to me. It's like, we don't care that you are working with Vue. We just want a developer that can work in the product as we love to. And you are a really passionate developer. We want you. And I was never thinking I would change it to React, because at that moment I have so much priority for Vue. Like, I want only to work with Vue. But nowadays it's like, when I want to experience something new, go to the new version of Angular or try React, it's like, I know I will not reach that company anymore because of these massive layoffs that we can see in so many companies that were working with React. And even people that created the framework are now looking for jobs. Imagine, it's like, I can compete with that. I had the same problem at home. Like, my boyfriend is .NET developer, and there was like a massive layoff from .NET developers in Microsoft with 15 years of experience, 20 years of experience, and it's impossible to compete. So it's really annoying that they focus so much in the technology and not the skills that you develop in so many different terms, because always they say, yeah, we want a team player, but but just because it doesn't say React, they get the people that are not team players. And sometimes they are isolated, working really without the team. And
Yeah.
that's even worse because that person that you match because of tech, it doesn't match your team. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know how to compensate that in an interview so they can take into account all this behind the framework.
Yeah. But they
So do you
also need
think?
to think, as we talked already also about well-being before and soft skills, that sometimes you can find very qualified person by professional technical skills, but unfortunately sometimes they're not team players, and it's also hard. So even some managers I know, they prefer not to hire like stars who are really very awesome, and they know that they're so awesome people and famous. I don't know like how to explain. I never like was in this situation that someone like was a star, or me supposed to be like a star, I hope. I prefer to think that I'm like team player. I'm very good with people and etc. I think so. And yeah, so sometimes it happens. So once I got offer only because of that. So I think maybe I told already some of you about that. But it was one guy who was, he said that the manager told me that one guy solved this task for 30 minutes. And for me, it was 1 hour technical task. Like it was several tasks, but he just did it faster. And but they said that, but he needed to work with a lot of teams and developer experience team, and you need to be very talkative with other developers. So you need to find a way to them to show them how to use something that's supposed to use in this company. Because I was in the situation when we had a core team of like architects. They made like a solution how it's supposed to be used in other products, but it was not used like that, unfortunately, because you need to advocate inside your company also some best practices, and quite often it doesn't work. So people from developer experience teams or like with this core architect team, somehow they need to be this person, talkative person with soft skills.
Yeah, but
So
I
and,
think,
and with knowledge.
it's of course discouraging if you're in the application process, and it can feel very frustrating, but I always try to remind myself that if it's a place that only focuses on the like the hard skills, the technical skills, maybe also I wouldn't be happy there long term. Like even though if that's like a little bit of a if you're looking for a job and you really want one, then it's not a massive consolidation. But I feel like you want to work with people who are also who are skilled technically, of course, but who are also skilled to work with other people. And so if the company doesn't consider that in the first steps of their hiring process, maybe then you do not want to be there.
Yeah, that's true. So regarding frameworks, we can continue.
Yeah. I was just trying to figure out how we could get there, but now we're there, so that's great.
Yeah. So how's Vue?
For me, it's okay because I didn't change in a long time. So for me, it's still, well, actually, it's changing a lot, I would say, to be a framework that is open source and there is no company, huge company behind it. It's more people willing to make Vue better. I think it changed a lot. Of course, not
Mm-hmm.
like next, because like they are in the 19 version, isn't it? And we are in the 3. But still, I like it this way. It's like, imagine 19. No, I will just shoot me. It's like, I can't anymore. No, but still, I think we are in a nice ecosystem because it's not only Vue that we have, it's also Vid. It's everything that is changing the web in a way that will be more performant. And more performant means also green for the environment. So in general, I think I'm happy with the frameworks because of the decisions behind it. But of course, in terms of jobs out there, that's another topic because it's niche. So there is not that many companies using it. And the ones that use it maybe have 2 developers and they have enough because maybe they are building a product or it was already built and they are just maintaining it. So it's like it's more difficult to find a job in Vue
Yeah,
than React, for sure.
yeah. It's also the problem why in blockchain area why Rust is not so popular, because if you go to like some blockchain conference and people start to say that, oh yeah, we like Rust and etc. You heard about Rust language? No?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's very just popular now, but at the same time, when you want to build something on this language, there are not so many positions, unfortunately. And it's like with the same problem with React. So if you try to find a new job on front end, and for example, you're beginner, like what do you want to learn, where you want to start, you just check, I don't know, amount of positions on LinkedIn, for example, for your location, if you search in one location, and then you probably will get that React mostly the one of the most popular still. And why, it's another question, right? Because we all go to these conferences, and I have now this feeling that actually all these quick Astra Svelte, they so like so good in a lot of meanings, but again, how you will start, you will start your own pet project with that, right? Or you just somehow, you can't just like convince your manager, oh, let's like rewrite everything on new framework. Yes, it's just not possible, because no one will give you the time to rewrite everything. And I don't know, so I think that sometimes people lucky when they can, you know, on new project start with something new, when you do a lot of projects and in your company for different companies. So
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
really.
from yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Josie.
No, I was going to say, if you talk to people who work at agencies, for example, and they have many small clients where they actually get to start from scratch, I think those are the lucky folks who from time to time get to try something new.
yeah,
I think it might be really stressful still, because you have to kind of sell it to a client and actually make sure that everything works and there's no breaking changes and everything. But like, I think those are the positions in which you can actually try some new stuff. And then if you work for an enterprise client, or like it's just been established, how would you convince them to switch? Like that's a lost battle, like
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I was on that because I started to write on React framework. So no, I started with JavaScript, of course, with jQuery. But then I started my first framework was React. Actually, I just checked, and it's not framework; it's library. It's called library, but on all conference we compare all these like frameworks. So yeah, started with React, but then switched to Angular, and I when I switched, I did a very small application. It was one project there that I needed to do small application, and I thought that, oh, with React it's so easy, it's so fast. Why do we need Angular with all these things? We have one page only. We actually don't need a lot of framework at all. But the solution, and I agree now with this like approach, that if your team knows only Angular, it's not a good idea to bring something new, because it's not like 2 or 3 people that you need to re-educate somehow. It's like 800 developers that learn one thing, and they may be good in this already. And so yeah, you need always to choose tools because of your tasks and because of people who you already have. That's, I think, the point. But it would be always very nice just for yourself to try something new.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Is there anything you want to try right now?
Yeah, I love this. Yeah, as I said, this quick Astra, I really love their way. And as far as I check, they're doing quite fast, because of the way that they're not doing everything on JavaScript. So they try to do the server rendering approach, and then you just like put some dynamic on dynamic parts. You put this like JavaScript that should be changed somehow and interact. So this, I think, very interesting. All this like hydration, resumability, different approach with Astra and quick frameworks. I would love to try, but on my own website I use now Next.js, and for now it's okay. So it's still server rendering. It's good for SEO. So I think actually that was the minus, like at the beginning of like all this Angular, Vue, and React, all these approaches that we did it on client side, but we lost something, and we needed somehow to try how we can get all these keywords and etc. back, and all this accessibility. Josie, you now work with this accessibility, I think.
Yeah.
Do you still actually have some problems with frameworks on this part?
I mean, we're working with Vue, right? And it's not so much the framework that is the problem, it's the legacy code. But yeah, so there are problems.
So yeah, and I think that with these new frameworks, it should be much better. At least it's like everywhere where I look, it says that way, that SEO should be much better with server rendering, and it's faster because of first load, because first page goes without a lot of bunch of JavaScript that draws just everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think in terms of meta frameworks like Astro and Next and Next, I think in general it's something that sometimes it feels like over engineering because of all the stuff that you have when you start a project with them. But the way Astro is doing it, that is also inspiring the others, is opt-in. So everything that you want, you will add something, add a package, add a module, but it's not there by default. So it's really light. That's the way to go. Because before, when I was using Next in the beginning, of course, because now in Next 3, they also have this kind of opt-in functionality. But before, everything was there. So even if I just want a static site, full static, like no JavaScript at all when I compile it, I had some JavaScript because everything was one big thing and you can get rid of that things. But nowadays you can. And I think that's amazing. And at the same time, I don't know why, expecting something in the framework itself. I think Angular is doing something like that is having that kind of small package that you can add to have SSR. And I think Bit was trying also to create like a package that you can install in your project with plain view, so it can do the work for you and not have a meta framework if you need only one specific thing in your project to be that thing, or a root only. So yeah, I think the future that we are having is much more powerful and easier than it was till now. And I'm happy about that, actually, the way we are going now.
Yeah, I also worry, like, I think that it's good that we're evolving, that everything changing, but at the same time, I'm so sorry for all beginners. So I stopped doing my courses. My camera is moving after me. It's
Yeah,
following
that's
me.
true.
Let me see. Yes.
So fancy. Mine doesn't want to follow me.
I'm very sorry for them because, yeah, I stopped doing my web courses in 2022 because of different reasons, but also because of, I just realized that when I teach these kids, like my last course was with kids, when I teach them HTML, CSS, okay, like WordPress, okay, now I think they need to learn something maybe else. But React for kids, I don't know, not sure. Like all these hooks, asynchronous things. I just don't know. I think it's too much for them because when you do markup, it was quite clear. But even with CSS, have you seen what now CSS even can do?
it's gotten so powerful. It's crazy, right?
Yeah. It's just like 15 years ago when I came, it was even not like this, not last version of ECMAScript. So it's changed so much. And I still think that like front end is a good way to start, but now I think maybe like manual testing still will be like easy to start IT career, like tech career, or maybe AI prompting engineer. Also new job.
Yeah, that's the new fancy role that's out there everywhere, right? I mean, I feel like an AI engineer when I ask ChatGPT for feedback on how to make my code better, but it's a different conversation.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
we have a question in the chat that is related to AI. So I think it's the time to bring it up because it's related to developer relations that we were talking before. But
Yeah.
basically, Daniel asked us, how do you think the dev relation role will change when AI has taken all the developers' jobs away? That's really scary.
Actually, there is also good news regarding AI, how AI influence, because we can with AI easier measure our success with DevRel, because it was so hard like to find all these things. But there are tools. I think we maybe talked about them already. With you, Alba, maybe. So yes, you told me that there is this common room and other tools. There also there is one new project about how AI can help you with like finding all, for example, your broken links, URLs on your website, because it's quite often happen with documentation, and we all suffer about that, and experience suffers about that. And also what I like in common room, this feature that they can somehow match profiles from different social nets and create your like user profile. It's so good for developer relations. I think that you can see different like types of your users actually and try to understand why they're doing that. Of course you can ask them. But still, I think AI, it's a very powerful tool, not only like to steal your job, but also give you some tools, because it can steal your job if you just don't use AI, I think. Because even now in Chrome, they have this AI assistant that helps you, right? There are this Copilot and other tools. So it's very cute, I think, but you need to be just, again, educated how to use them better. It's like how to use IDE, right? IDE helps us a lot to write code faster. And it could be pretty similar with AI. It just can help us to write the code faster. And in in developer relations, it's just also tools, because AI can learn on data and help us much easier. It can show us some patterns that we don't see because we just
And if we think about AI not only as a code helper or some kind of assistant, if we think about AI about the features that some products will have using AI, or the next product software as a service that all of them will have AI, then developer relations probably will migrate instead to advocate for web frameworks or things related to code. They will advocate more for these AI things that we will have in the future. So maybe it will migrate the kind of skills that developer relations are asked for, and maybe AI will be more in these kind of roles. Because until now, I didn't met so many AI developer relations engineers, because all the communities I was talking to are JavaScript communities. So I didn't have this opportunity, but I'm pretty sure there will be also developer relations in AI products or even just algorithms. So if they have a new AI, I don't know the name of the things, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Actually, I am interviewing in one company with AI already.
So that's perfect. It's like if you learn about it and you know how to advocate on how to use that AI, then it's better for developers to have you. But then the developers will be able to connect thanks to your tutorials or your guidelines or your best practices. So at the end, I think it's a change of mentality, and it's hard. For people at least with a lot of experience. It's hard because, for me in the beginning was a little shock. It's like, I don't want to use AI because, of course, at that moment in time, it wasn't that stable, and everything that said took me more time to investigate and ask again than actually checking the documentation. So I was really frustrated. But right now that you have this kind of tool that make you a scaffolding of projects from scratch, and you have like a proper setup, then I use it for that kind of thing because it's easier to start, and usually the boilerplates are already out there. So usually AIs know how to do that better than other things. But yeah, still using everyday AI with you, who still is a little bit weird to me. I need to get used to, yeah.
But maybe that also ties back to the topic of soft skills that we were talking about before, right? Because of course we're like also again, I don't think it's just tech. I think it's lots of different disciplines that are kind of scared or worried for their jobs with the rise of AI. But now more than ever, the skills that the AI doesn't have, the literal human skills, the soft skills, become more important. And so I think that's actually like a good thing to fall back on, to say like, hey, you still have a bunch of things that teams need, that products need, that we don't need, or that AI doesn't have.
But I think that ChatGPT is very polite. So
oh yeah,
it does know some soft skills.
I mean, I love
no,
these.
we're like, yeah.
No, I was going to say, I love these memes where people keep saying, like, when AI or when ChatGPT was first really coming up, and everybody's saying, like, no, I'm very polite to AI because in case the robots take over, I want them to take me out last. And so I still do that. I say, please and thank you. And, like, I just hope for the best. Because what else do we have? Like,
yeah. No, I love robots. And when
We
we
all
speak
love
about
robots, yeah.
when I speak about that, I remember one of my favorite games, Detroit Become Human. So yeah, it's about robots. Yeah.
Well, my favorite movie was Yo Robot. That I don't think is the name in
I'm
English,
Robot.
but is
Yes,
Will Smith.
with Will Smith,
that one.
And a dog, yeah.
But it's not good. For us, at least, is
it has two endings, you know. This movie has two endings.
But I only know the official one.
So one was, I think, not so bad. No.
And now we're all just fascinated reading all the comments. Sorry.
Indeed.
Sorry. We got very distracted. One more topic on our list that I was really curious about is you're also super involved with the JS community in Luxembourg, right? What are you doing there? What kind of events do you have? How can people join in? And I heard there was a little bit of rebranding, so I'm very curious what's going on.
So it's not JS community anymore. But we decided to still keep some yellow color on our new logo. So we decided community changing. In Luxembourg, new people are coming, and we have like new speakers always, and people just come to country, go out of the country. And we decided that for community it would be good that topics will not be only front end, because we already started to do like talks. My talk was about soft skills. It's also not front end topic. And then we had topics like always accessibility, CSS, but it's front end topic still. It's not pure JavaScript. And now we realize that we have so many full stack developers that actually we want to speak more about frameworks. And when you start to speak about frameworks, you sometimes start to speak about backend and full stack stuff. So it's all about that. It's still about development. And in Luxembourg, we have startups about AI, and it's also very interesting. And I was like working for a year with blockchain. It's also interesting, but I didn't push guys like, let's have this talk. We just decided that we want to change and do rebranding. So it will not be Luxembourg JS anymore. It will be Lux Tech Pulse. So it's like Tech Pulse in Luxembourg. And so we are working on rebranding, and our next event should be in November. And we already during COVID had this option to do online events, and we decided that hybrid events also working very good for us, because some people can join online if they, for example, don't want to go to Luxembourg or it's very far or something, and also because we can invite more speakers, more international speakers. We already did it during COVID very successfully, and now we can still do it in the same way. So, for example, what we did in the spring, we had we gathered together in real office in Luxembourg, but we had one talk from our community member, and another talk was from Glafira Jour from GD program as well, and she talked about accessibility. And so it was very good when you can discuss. You still can have you still have this Q&A section, but it's online, and you have your community, and you can discuss all talks and etc. after. So it's very good combination, and I think for our small community, it's very good option because Luxembourg. I think Luxembourg didn't have so many front-end developers, and also because different languages. So we have some French-speaking events and English-speaking events, because 50% of people in the country, they're expat, they still don't know French language natively. Yes, 50% of.
But that's crazy.
Yeah, that's why this English-speaking events, they're very, very much important, because it's for all new expats. So it's good.
But it's really cool. I really love that you're opening up like the topics, because I think sometimes that even broadens the horizon and can help you, even if you're a developer for front end or work in a very specific topic, learning from stuff like Internet of Things or self-driving cars or robotics or like technical things. You can derive so much inspiration from that. There's also a meetup here in Hamburg where I'm based, where people do that they invite speakers from very, very different industries and open it up beyond front end. And at first I was really scared, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to understand any of it, because it's like something completely different. But there's so much benefit, and so many themes kind of overlap. And so I think that's really, really cool that you're doing that. I'm really excited for all the things to come for Tech Pulse
Lux Tech Pulse, yes.
Oh, okay. I'm really excited for the next steps there.
Yeah. And all these new ideas, actually, like TypeScript and JavaScript, I'm pretty sure that backend developers bring it to us because they were tired of JavaScript, this typization. And I think, that some from another languages people came and decided, no, TypeScript shouldn't be.
Yeah, but that's cool, right? How things kind of bleed over between the different disciplines and areas, and we can learn so much from each other, and we're so much stronger together. We actually had an in-person meeting last week from our company, and we met with the whole product team, and we had an exercise. We did something like a hackathon style, and all the groups had all the different disciplines. And for me, that was so, I mean, of course we know other people have different skills, but for me that was so eye-opening to see how different people approach a topic so completely differently, and it makes it so much better. Like, because you're questioning your decisions and learning from each other. And I thought that was really, really cool. So I think it's a really good opportunity to learn.
Yeah, actually, now that you mention it, there is companies that usually, instead of splitting, imagine front-end developers in the same sprint, they mix a designer, QA, backend developer. And well, actually in our company, we are doing that, but still there is not so much overlap into the task we do. It's more like the design go first, then you develop, and then some tester check everything. And if there is backend need, then they do. But there is other companies that actually do the brainstorming all together for the feature, and there is a real interaction while everything is happening. So I create a different components. So I just show it to the design is making the changes, and then I overdo it again, let's say the CSS part, and then it's like more ongoing process. And here's more like I do one thing, I deliver, then the other one does the thing, but we don't communicate that much between the process. And I think it's a really interesting approach, actually.
Yeah. And also I like this things when not only we share internally some knowledge and talks, but these options, for example, like hackathons inside the company, where you can use some of your tools. For example, it depends on company what exactly you are like providing to people in the world. But sometimes it could be very good, I think, solutions. And it's not just, I think, that from such hackathons, internal, in the end it comes out a lot of things, like I think Twitter or some other also companies, they were started on this kind of hackathons, and this can help you understand the work of another person also, and be involved more in the process of creating some kind of product. Because yes, I think it's whole problem that we sometimes focusing very much on some small thing. For example, just choosing framework or whatever. It's choosing the framework. It's important part, like responsible, because you have consequences after that. But at the same time, I think it's much more important for me now to think why we're building this in general, for whom we are building it, who will be our users, this analytics. And it's not only for managers questions, it's question for developers as well. Because when we're so far from our clients, and it's quite often happens, unfortunately, because we just develop small thing, when we're so far, we don't understand these problems. And I think in accessibility, it's like the front runners of this problem, right? So, because if you don't understand how people don't see something or don't hear, or they just can't use the website somehow because of some reasons, so yeah, it's hard. And that's why I think it should start from the beginning. Who are users, why we are building that. And unfortunately, in some companies, sometimes management doesn't share like with you their vision. So you have like, you know, we all have values of the company quite often. Sometimes you need to learn them before interview. But at the same time, sometimes it's just words, and you want to know exactly what behind all of this. Why C-level want to build this product, what they're planning to do next, because that somehow can help you to advocate the product if you're in developer relations, for example, or if you team lead, and or you just like, I don't know, developer who has a power to affect some decisions, solutions. You also need to know all these things, because it can give you bigger picture, and you will not be just stuck with some small thing that, oh no, we need to use this from because I want. It's not working like that.
Yeah, totally. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I think it's going to make everything better if you frequently question why you're doing something, and even the smallest decisions that you make as a developer while creating something are going to be influenced if you know why and for whom you're doing it. So I think like, even if you think, quote unquote, you have no power, you still have a lot of power in very small things that add up to a mountain of things. So that's super valuable. I really appreciate you sharing that. Alba, I think you're muted.
Alba muted. We're muted.
Yeah.
Thank you, girls. I was just going to say that we are almost at the ending of the streaming, and because we aim always for a little bit less than 1 hour to don't overdo it. We have an afternoon coming our way. No, the idea is that I wanted to say just thank you so much, Vasilika, for joining us and for being today with us, sharing your experience and everything that you are concerned about nowadays. And it was really inspiring for me, and also a nice conversation to open so many topics that are in our minds, but we don't share that often with colleagues. And I think this was a really, mind-opening conversation. And well, for those that are listening right now or later, this is a Seni podcast, a big weekly show by Alba, Josie, and Arisa that is not here right now, but it will be in other episodes. And the next episode, as always, will be in 2 weeks. So if you want to suggest any topic or just guests that you want to see in the show, something about AI, for sure. We know Daniel wants to talk about AI, so we can do a topic like that, for example. Just share it in the comments in YouTube or in social media. You can email us, everything that you want. We are there for you. So thank you so much for seeing us. And wish you a nice week.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank
much
you very
for
much. Thank you
joining.
for inviting me.
Of
And
course.
it was
Thanks to you for
again,
coming.
it was a pleasure to speak with you. Yes, about all our pains.
You're the best. We are going to share everything about the Luxembourg meetup in case someone wants to go or speak there. So you can join Vasilika
Yeah, for
community.
sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Thanks. Bye.